Something about a summer day turning unexpectedly cool sparks a kind of magic in the garden. The sky hung low and grey this morning, whispering promises of rain, rare, refreshing, and oh so welcome for mid to late July. With temperatures dipping into the 70s, it almost felt like autumn was testing the waters early. The breeze came and went, a quiet lull before something more dramatic rolled in. And in that brief calm, there was a pressing feeling, one that gardeners know all too well. The kind that says, today's the day, get those plants in the ground before the storm tells you otherwise. On the to-do list? A rough and ready collection of garden gems, just waiting for their moment to shine. A few quick Fire Fab Hydrangeas, gorgeous up top but slightly weary in their containers, looked like they were begging for their forever home. A couple of overwintered Buddleias were holding on, one scraggly with last year's leaves and another bravely putting out fresh new growth. Then there was the sweet little poppy plant, gifted by a thoughtful viewer months ago, patiently waiting in its container. Alongside it was several Anise Hyssops, started from seed and still looking small, but with the kind of promise only seasoned gardeners recognize. And a lone pincushion flower, a quiet survivor from January's greenhouse batch, was ready to join the world. The morning began near the pond, a spot where the Anise Hyssop planted earlier this year had gone from will it even make it? To wow, this thing is thriving. Looking at them now, tall and full of life, was the first emotional pull of the day, a reminder of how far a little green hope can go. Their scent was divine, their blooms adored by pollinators, and their ability to self-seed? Well, that's just a bonus. These plants were the resilient kind, low-maintenance champions with heart. Then came the butterfly blue pincushion flower. It had waited in the greenhouse since the earliest days of the year and bloomed nearly non-stop thanks to the warmth of artificial spring. Planting it into real soil felt almost ceremonial. Finding the right spot, tucked between double pink echinaceas and surrounded by perennial friends, was like placing a final puzzle piece. The visual harmony it added, with its sweet fairy tale-like blooms, was almost too perfect to believe. But as any gardener knows, the weather never keeps promises. Just as plans were forming to get those butterfly bushes into the ground, the rain began. Not a gentle drizzle, but a proper, joyful downpour, the kind that smells like relief and renewal. It was the kind of rain you stop and watch, not rush through. So that's exactly what happened. A pause. A moment with family. A walk into the Hartley greenhouse to hear the patter of drops on glass. Warm drinks, laughter, kids in coats in July. It wasn't just a break, it was a memory. The next day, the garden was drenched, soft and muddy in places that usually crack under the sun. The kind of rare morning that tempts you to dig deeper just to see how far the water traveled. And so, the planting resumed. The Buddleia found its home near some slightly stressed but salvageable viburnums and a pop of coral red coreopsis. Purple against red is a tricky combo, but with the right spacing, and maybe a hint of buttery yellow or white nearby, it promised to work beautifully. The other butterfly bush was nestled elsewhere, in a spot once occupied by a struggling dogwood. Sadly, that plant had been chewed at the base, a silent casualty. Sometimes, gardening isn't just planting, it's letting go, too. Carefully, soil was brushed away to reveal the perfect planting height for the Buddleia. Slightly elevated to avoid water pooling at the crown, it was a delicate balance that often made the difference between thriving and wilting. With roots firm in place and mulch tucked around them like a blanket, the Buddleias finally stood tall. Next up, the Anise Hyssop seedlings, the last of a successful seed-starting experiment. Looking at earlier plantings that had now grown tall and lush gave a sense of immense satisfaction. From tiny, unassuming sprouts to pollinator magnets taller than a gardener's shoulder, they were proof of patience paying off. As the new batch was nestled into place, spacing was casual and instinctive, about a foot apart, just enough room to grow into their grandeur without crowding the edge. One spot posed a challenge. A water line lurked beneath, and sure enough, the shovel nicked it. A reminder, gardening often comes with the unexpected. But that didn't stop the momentum. The remaining plants went in smoothly, and a new spot was found for the final one once the repair could be made. Then came a treat, the poppy plant. Its yellow blooms may have faded since its prime, but its charm hadn't dimmed one bit. It was gently planted in a border among cool blues and purples, a splash of sunshine to tie it all together. Listening to bees buzz among the blooms, there was a real sense of contentment in the air. A bit of maintenance wrapped up the day. Straggly veronicas were cut back, and the revitalized growth underneath revealed itself, fresh and green. Even a penstemon that had flopped over was evaluated, lifted, and gently replanted, in the hopes it might find new strength in new soil. Nearby, globe thistles were doing their spiky, sculptural thing, and gorgeous hibiscus from last year had erupted into show-stopping blooms. As the final butterfly bush found its place near one of those rebounding hibiscus, it was clear how color, the interplay of purple and pink, yellow and blue, creates mood and emotion in a space. The harmony wasn't just in plant selection but in their arrangement, in how each one told a piece of a story. And just when you think the day has offered all its beauty, the strawberry harvest begins. Nestled beneath dense leaves, berries hid like treasure. Just one raised bed yielded a full basket, plump, red, and bursting with flavor. With 4 more beds waiting, it felt like a gift that kept giving. These strawberries weren't just sweet, they were a reflection of every early morning, every careful watering, and every moment of loving labor. As the final berries were plucked, thoughts turned to winter. Sheet pans full of strawberries were already in the freezer, ready to become winter smoothies and comforting jams. The garden gave enough not just for now, but for months to come. And isn't that the essence of gardening? To invest in today for the joys of tomorrow? By the end of the day, so many random plants had found purpose. Things that once sat in pots for months now belonged somewhere permanent. There was no grand design, just intuition and care. A bit of maintenance, a surprise rain, a basket full of strawberries, and some joyful moments with family. That's what gardening is really about. As kids ran out to admire the harvest, their delight was infectious. They marveled at the oddly shaped strawberries, asked for tastes, and ran off giggling. There was nothing staged about the moment. It was life. It was happiness in the simple things. And with that, the day closed. The projects were wrapped. The garden was fuller, the air was cooler, and the heart? It was fuller too.